today's YouTube video, we're taking a look at the top 5 fastest TTK guns in the entire game. After that update where they touched 40 different gun values and didn't tell us about any of it, this is going to be the fastest TTK guns you guys can use in the game right now. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like for the algorithm, subscribe for more, and let's hop into this. The first gun we're taking a look at here today is going to be the TAC-V, one of my personal favorites to use in Warzone right now because it hits incredibly hard. First attachment on this is going to be the Sock and Tread 40, so vertical recoil control and horizontal recoil control. This gun will kick quite a bit, but the TTK on this thing is ridiculous in comparison to a lot of different ARs, so I'd recommend for you guys to use it. So horizontal and vertical recoil control, but the tune on that is going to be a plus 0.41 and a plus 0.14. After that, skipping the barrel, going right down here to run the F-Tac Gripper 56, aiming idle stability, hipfire accuracy, and recoil stabilization. You really can't go wrong with this attachment. It works so good on a variety of different guns. The tune on this here is going to be a negative 0.28 and a plus 0.40 on the bottom. Now we're going to go down here and we're going to run the 7.62 high velocity round. So it's pretty self-explanatory. It increases your overall bullet velocity, but we'll have tuned this here specifically to help us with a couple of things. So negative 0.36 for that recoil smoothness and a negative 4.06 for a little bit more recoil steadiness, making this gun just a little bit more viable at those longer ranges. Now we're going to go down here and run that 50 round magazine. Definitely a non-negotiable on this gun, pretty much as well as the other attachments, but this is 100% a non-negotiable here. The 50 round jump, definitely need to run this. It's not like you're ever using this gun in semi-auto. You're using this in fully automatic all the time, so 50 rounds is the way to go. And for our last attachment, the Aim Op V4. We run this on so many different guns just because it's incredibly good at what it does. I mean, it works out great. It's not too much of a zoom. It's not too less of a zoom, whatever you guys want to say, but it's, you know, it's not too much, too little. It works out great for everything. The tune on that here is going to be negative 1.35 and a negative 1.65, maxing it out there on the bottom. So that's my full TAC-V build. You guys should try this out. Next up, we're going to be taking a look here at the ISO 45, a really good gun you guys should be using as a secondary. It pretty much ties the Lockman sub as one of the best SMGs in the game, but here's my build for the 9 PTX trainer barrel. This is a great barrel. We switched over from the EX Raptor V2 over to this one, so recommend for you guys to use this instead. The tune on that here is going to be a negative 0.29 and negative 0.27. After that, we have the 1 MW quickfire laser. So this gives us that increase in aim down sight speed, which is what we really want because, I mean, who doesn't want an ADS faster with a close quarters gun? So that's huge. The tune on that is going to be negative 0.44 and negative 32.90. Now we're going to go down here and run the 45 round drum. So this is a necessity for this gun. It comes with 30 round stock, which is not good for a custom build. We don't want to run that, so we always want to go for the 45. Don't care if you're playing solos, always go for the 45. Now we're going to go back here and run the EXP shear, sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. The tune on this is going to be all maxed out on the bottom for aim down sight speed and also maxed out down here in a negative 0.45. Lastly, we're going to go up in here and run the demo fade tac stock, aim walking speed and sprint speed. I mean, overall great things here, and the tune on that is going to be negative 2.06 and a negative 1.39. So that is my full build there for the ISO 45. Next up, we're going to be taking a look here at the HCR 56. This is the LMG version of the STB. It is really good, and you guys should be using it. First thing in here is going to be the X10 Havoc 90. Horizontal and vertical recoil control. Definitely have to stabilize this gun out. It is very much so in need of that, so that's why we have that on there. The tune on this is going to be all the maxed out for recoil stabilization and a plus 0.21 here on the bottom. Now we're going to go up in here and we're going to run the F-Tac Hornet 20 barrel, increase in recoil control, bullet velocity, and hip recoil control. So all really great things right here. Definitely makes this thing very viable. We don't really care too much about that minor damage range decrease because it really doesn't affect this gun. The tune on that here is going to be a negative 0.11 or plus 0.11, my bad, and a plus 0.10, giving a little bit more damage range. Now we're going to go down here and run the F-Tac Gripper 56. You guys kind of know what it does, so I'm not really going to explain it here. You guys just get the gist. The tune on that here is going to be a plus 0.54 and a plus 0.28. Now we're going to go down here. We're going to run the 5.56 high velocity rounds. This is by far the best sort of ammunition to run on this gun, increasing our overall bullet velocity, making sure our bullets register faster because everything in Warzone is a projectile. The tune on this is going to be a plus 0.32 and a negative 2.03. Now we're going to go up in here and we're going to skip the magazine because this thing has a great 60 round stock. We're going to run the Aim Op V4. I mean, is that a surprise right there? The sight, we're going to be running the AMOP V4, and the tune on that is going to be a negative 1.84, and all they maxed out far distance on the bottom. So definitely give this a try. Not something I see used very often, but it is still incredibly good. Now we're going to take a look at my go-to SMG here as my secondary, which is the MP5, aka the Lockman sub. First attachment on here is going to be the L38 Falcon 226mm barrel. Just pretty much speeding us up. We're really not too worried about the cons. This is almost virtually no cons to me, to be honest with you. I just think it's overall a great barrel. The tune on that is going to be a negative 0.21 and a plus 0.30. Now we're going to go in here and run the 1MW quickfire laser for that increase in aim down sight speed. Overall, gotta have this on here. Makes this gun more effective at close range and ADSing, which is huge because we're always trying to ADS fast at close range. And the tune on this here is going to be a negative 0.13 and a negative 29.98. I feel like my tune on this never saves, so I always have to go back and redo it, but it's within this general parameter right here. You can be minus or plus a few different points right there. It's not going to make that big of a difference. But the tuning on, or the next attachment, my bad, is going to be the 9mm frangible rounds, which is going to give us that temporary delay in healing, which can be pretty clutch when people are running away from you trying to play it up. It makes it easier to be able to take them out. The tune on that here is going to be a plus 0.50 and a negative 5.52. Now we're going to go down here and run the 40 round mag. You can run the 50 if you'd really like to, but overall the 40 is definitely something I'd say is indeed better to be able to run, so I just kind of go for that. And lastly, we're going to go for the Lockman TCG10, just to increase that recoil control. The other attachments on this that you could probably use, like, I mean, the optic, we're not going to use an optic. The stocks, we're not really going to use just because those mess the gun up here pretty much. So we just have to resort to using a rear grip. This is kind of like the last use attachment that we really got. The tune on this here is going to be a negative 0.29 and a negative 0.13. So that's my full build there for the Lockman sub. Now for our final gun here today, we're going to be taking a look at the Socken MG38. So we've had some pretty heavy guns in here today for this top 5 so far, but this is a really good gun. It's kind of making its resurgence as a fast TTK gun. First attachment, the TY-LR8 horizontal recoil control. You guys realistically could probably swap this out for something like maybe like a lock shot if you really wanted to, just for that increase in vertical recoil control. If you guys feel like it's a little bit too much, you can tune it relatively the same way, but you guys pretty much can go for this one or this one. It's not going to be too much of a difference. The tune on that here is going to be a plus 0.54 and a plus 0.18. Now we're going to go in here and run the 7.62 high velocity rounds. Of course, making sure our shots register faster. It is just common sense. This is what they do. The tune on this here is going to be a negative 0.20 and a negative 30.48. Now we're going to go up in here and run the FSS OLE-V laser. So that increase in aim down sight speed, aiming stability, and sprint to fire speed is pretty huge for this gun because it is indeed an LMG and it's going to be slower just by nature because it is an LMG. So this will be very, very useful for when you guys are actually trying to, you know, bring the gun up a little bit faster. This will definitely help you out. The tune on that has been negative 0.19 and negative 16.45. And then we're going to go back here. We're going to run the Stip-40 grip, that increase in that recoil control. So definitely helps us out right there. The tune on this is going to be a plus 0.68 and a plus 0.36. And lastly, we have the AMOP V4, which I'm not even going to go in there and select it because you guys know the drill. The tune on that is going to be a negative 1.55 and a negative 1.65, aka max out for that far distance. That has been my top 5 fastest TTK guns. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, give it a like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys later.